Oh, that was old. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Welcome to episode 65 of Quarkus Insights. This time about Kogito or business process. I don't have much news this week around. We've done some more updates. Q3 is on its way. But as always, if you guys have questions who you are listening, just put a question in the chat and I'll ask the honorable guest. And we have a short time today, so let's go. Maybe Paulo, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Hello, Max. I'm Paulo. I work as a senior software engineer at the Key team, specifically in the tooling part of the team, making always new tools to help developers to be more efficient on the developing of business process and also decision models.
Okay.
That's it.
Is my sound going fine now? Or is it better or worse? You guys can't hear me. Great.
It's a little bit hard to hear you, Max.
Oh, come. It's just the volume?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll speak up louder and see if
Better.
that works. Better. Okay,
Better.
Cool. All right. Where are you actually from? Or where are you located at the moment?
I'm from Brazil.
Yeah.
And the state of São Paulo. Yeah.
Got it. I always forget you guys are in Brazil.
Yeah, there are a lot of us in our team.
Alex, where are you from?
Hey, I am original from Brazil, but I live nowadays in Massachusetts, in Westford.
You moved
around the corner of the our engineer headquarters here.
Got it. Okay. And you wanted to, what are you doing in context of Quarkus?
Sure. So we in business automation, our projects, well-known Drules, GBPM, and OptaPlanner, have been evolved long time on the portfolio that we have in Red Hat. And since I think 2 years ago, we started the new initiative that's called Kogito. In this initiative, we think from scratch our tools and also the engines to be more cloud native. And that's when Quarkus also aligned with Quarkus coming up, and our engines align with Quarkus. And as we can see today, our tools also align with Quarkus, take advantage of all the goodies and developer experience that Quarkus provides.
Yeah, because you guys, I remember, I wasn't actually around at the time it all started, but I remember you guys were also looking into some GraalVM and other things, and then suddenly the Quarkus came out and everyone kind of jumped over, and that's where we are now. Just for those who, and I don't still remember all it. Is Kogito the new name for Drules, or is it a new repackaging or reimplementation, or what's the?
No, Kogito is an initiative and our solutions. When you build solutions, bringing different pieces of business automation, we ship it in the glue code around that is shipped as Kogito. But we still have the brands and the projects that came as up to date. Drules as the rule engine and decision engine. We have DMN as well, part of the rules of the Drules project. Is still there. We are just about to release the Drules 8. Is our next generation cloud native aligned to Quarkus. We still have the BPM process around GBPM, and the same for OptaPlanner. And all of those are in this next generation, the V8, are aligned with Quarkus. The Kogito is just the layer that integrates all these things and builds solution-based business automation. Basically, if you want to compose business process, business rules, and mathematical optimization, use Kogito.
Yeah. Okay, but so just to be clear, so Kogito, beside initiative, is also the package name we have in the code. So, but is Drules still there? Or
yes, very much. Yes, Drules is.
Geeku is like an umbrella initiative that includes different.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. But yeah, I know you guys want to show a little bit of how that works and some of the visual tools you actually added into DevUI. So that's going to be fun. So Alex, you want to share your screen or?
Yeah, I can start talking a little bit, and then we can share my screen in a second.
I'll stop sharing that.
Yeah, it's good to first, before diving in and show the capabilities that we'll show here, is give a little bit of context what we do in what business automation provides. Basically, business automation is a way, in terms of technology, is bridge the gap of communication between developers and domain expert business analysts or non-developer stakeholders. So we provide a set of capabilities and technology that allows you to create a higher level abstraction, design your decisions, your processes. We have a bunch of engines. We have the rule engine, we have the decision engine, we have the business process engine, and the mathematical optimization engine. And those are, we target a lot to that in terms of line of business. We have multiple customers and community users that take advantage of these capabilities in their applications. And one important aspect of the business automation, as I said, to bridge this gap of communication, is to have visual representation of whatever you're building. And that comes business process and also decisions. And we have the challenge here to build the tools for developers and also somehow non-developers as well. But we are focused here in developers that provides the same experience that you have in any code, Java code or Python, or whatever technology you're using, in the context of developers, right? The tools, IDEs, and the experience. And that's what we've been working on in this next generation that we've been working, that we provide the same capabilities that you have in your Java code, and you have the ability to have the same experience with these graphical tools. And we've been adopting VS Code as our main IDE development target. And we take advantage of that recently. Just an example, GitHub released the GitHub Dev that integrates the VS Code. It's a lightweight version of VS Code. And the one thing that I can show you here, now we can share. So this is our examples of Kogito. You see this repository. And by just clicking the dot, I will be redirected to the dev. Oops. I will redirect to the, run the window. I will be redirected, and I will be able to see these components, the BPMN or DMN files, directly in this environment, in the GitHub Dev UI. It's very helpful for code reviews or some minor change that you want to do on this GitHub interface.
Does that just work, or do I have to do something to?
Usually, you need to install it, right? I have here installed.
I installed the extension. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Extensions. Yes. The same extensions are available for the VS Code. You're just looking for that, and it just works. And this boosts the productivity. This is a starting of how we can boost the productivity of developers. Code reviews in this tool, it's super easy. But before code reviews, we can show and highlight how we take advantage of Quarkus capabilities with these editors.
And that's the thing I like, because I'm like, well,
go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I remember tools from like 10, 15 years ago, and I liked the library and like what I could do with it. We did some seam integration at some point and security, but there's always this focus on like a separate UI, a separate process for the business developer, and I was always just like, that's fine, but the developer is the ones who are gonna make this once you get to be the actually hands-on thing, it's gonna be something that has to somehow loop back to development. And I felt that was kind of, it was like two different islands, but basically and this is coming back to the code is coming home, basically.
That's we always struggle, because we have these two different personas. We have the developers and we have the non-developers. One of the goals is to bridge the gap of this business automation, is improve the communication.
Yes.
But it's so hard, and we have limited resources, as you know. We cannot build the same tool set for developers and for non-developers. It's too complicated. But with the VS Code based on a web technology like this, we managed to bring it all together. So we have today these integrated, but if you go here, we have other that have a very low entry point barrier, that you can just type in your browser dmn.new, and you launch an environment that you can build your DMN or BPMN files directly here without having installed anything.
So that's HTTPS
dmn.new. dmn.new.
DMN.new. Okay.
And you have the same for bpmn.new. So we always trying to lower the barrier entry of the technology. And I think this generation, with the evolution of the VS Code, for instance, and other tools, and especially now Quarkus, that we see Paulo demo some cool stuff, we managed to create a very cool solution that provides top-of-line tools for developers, but also non-developers can take advantage of those.
Very nice.
So that's it from my side, and now we'll see some productivity improvement that we have with business automation in VS Code and Quarkus Dev UI.
Cool.
Yeah, good.
Back to you, Paulo.
Yeah, so before I start to talk about the main subject of this presentation, which is the Runtime Tools extension that I came to present, I wanted to show you one thing about what Alex was saying. So I'm here with the VS Code open, and I have all the same extensions that Alex was showing on github.dev. They work on both distributions seamlessly, the same extension that we make available. And here I opened one of the examples in the Kogito examples repository that Alex was showing. Later, I will also show the URL on a slide, so anyone interested can take a look later.
What you're in here is actually a Quarkus project, right? It's a Quarkus that is using Kogito, or?
Yeah, this is a Quarkus project with a DMN file open in VS Code, and I wanted to show you how it's fast to develop and test this file using this editor in Quarkus dev mode. So this is a simple DMN file that has a driver and a violation as an input. So this model represents a traffic violation set of rules to exemplify what it does. And each violation has some rules to generate a fine. And when you have a driver with a fine, you should evaluate if the driver should be suspended or not. And if I take a look here at the rules for this node, we can see the driver is suspended if the total points on his license is bigger or equal to 20. So let's give it a try real quickly. I have a terminal here. I will run Quarkus on dev mode right now. Should be real fast.
Yeah, nice. So this is just a single process thing, right? It loads up, have a rest endpoint or something? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It loads up some rest points, and we can do a request to evaluate the DMN model with a set of data here. So right now I'm passing the information of a driver which has 14 points and violation of the speed limit that, based on the rules that we have in the model, should generate a fine of 3 points. So if we evaluate, we can see here the output highlighted. The fine generated was of 3 points, and the driver should not be suspended because he had 14 points on his license plus 3 equals 17, which is less than 20. And just to demonstrate the hot reload of the DMN model working here, I'll go back to the model and edit this rule to, instead of suspending the driver with 20 points, we'll do with 17. And I will just Control S to save the file. And I will go back to the terminal without doing anything else. and evaluate the model again. The same set of data. And we can see here now that the output that the driver should be suspended. So this makes real easy to evaluate this, the simple rules when you are developing, and makes the work really faster than before.
Yeah, because that's the idea, is the rules you were typing, like the higher than 120 is stuff you can change without having to redeploy, right? Or
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
the point is, this is these business automation editors or capabilities, DMN, BPMN, they are first class citizens on the Quarkus environment.
exactly, because before, when you used, what I remember, it's been a while, when you used rules editor, you had to go through and change it in your, like, a spreadsheet or something else, and it was not like always as fast. But with the whole what you guys done which I think is nice. One thing, if you've done with the simple way of just, simple is a underestimate, but you made it simple by just writing extension that hooks into Quarkus lifecycle and just reloads whatever is needed in Kogito, and it's just there. And then on top of that, you added the whole, like, graphical UI thing. That's a nice touch.
And let's not forget that we also be able to generate the native images.
Oh yeah, it runs in native too. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's, and again, I'm so used to saying, of course it does, because that's how it is. But again, the thing about it is, like, normally in a BPM process, what you would do there is a lot of reflection and other things, and I guess you guys are actually parsing some of these rules and know what, like, all the stuff you need to touch, and therefore can be very efficient. Which is very cool.
Exactly. And now we'll see Paulo going to the next stage, because now, okay, you have the developer short life cycle, you can update and reflect, but there's additional steps. Usually when you finish your, especially business process, you deploy it to debug what's happening when you call something, what happens. But with the Dev UI, we managed to integrate this experience with Quarkus.
Ah, yeah, you guys in Dev UI too. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's what we really wanted to show you. So we give a little introduction, talking about all the authoring tools we have been doing in the past months, and those, as you could see, really help to make the developer life more efficient. And apart from these authoring tools, we are also working on some runtime tools, so you are able to test this business process more efficiently during the development, only in development mode, using the runtime tools Quarkus extension that we are releasing now, the first release of it.
So is it out, or is it coming?
Yeah, the first release is out already. I will show here the whole version, but we have a lot of features already also in progress that will improve this extension quite a lot later as well.
Very nice.
I will talk about this because first I'll cover a little about the goal and then the installation of this extension, and then I'll do some demonstration on all the features that we have available so far in this first release, and I'll talk also about the next steps, which are 3 features that I listed that are in progress right now. Our team is already working on and should be released in the next few weeks. Also, we will do more presentations on these new features as well as they are being released.
Awesome.
Okay, so first, talk a little about the goal. So, as pretty much all the tools that we are making so far in our team on the tooling side, the goal is to make especially the developer the work of the developer and the experience of the developer more efficient by providing tools that where the developer doesn't need to worry as much about the environment as they did before. So just to give an example of that, in the past we've been working since Business Central and then with the management and the test console. We have a set of features to test business process with asynchronous jobs and user tasks that required a lot of external services to be ran to support these consoles, to provide data input for these consoles to function properly. And you can see here in this first section, in the past, we needed the data index, the job service, Kafka, single sign-on, and the two consoles as well. So this would pretty much be an environment that you would see in a production environment. So to a developer to run all of this locally, it was quite a lot, and most of the times you wouldn't take advantage of all the features that these services provide. So as we release this first version of the extension, we are already reducing the number of external services that you need to run to be able to test those features. And we are already working on reducing all of those external services. So in the future, we don't need to run anything apart from your own project with the extension as a dependency to be able to use all these features seamlessly without having to worry much about the environment you're testing your process.
So I guess this means this doesn't mean you don't work with SSO or have a management call. It just means that it's not specific to Kogito or tools anymore, right? It's just you show up.
You mean the management of the test console? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, like the management console and SSO. I assume you still support it. It's just not something you have
yes.
as your own, or
Yeah. What we're thinking here, we are eliminating dependencies during the development phase. You have these needs anyway when you deploy this in production. But to avoid deploying production or have a similar environment to test a process or to see how it works, we are eliminating all these dependencies. That's basically, we just work as magic with Quarkus Dev mode.
Gotcha.
Yes, exactly. And well, this is pretty much the goal that I need to talk about. So also I wanted to show very quickly how to install it, which is basically 2 steps. The first one, you need to add, of course, the extension as a dependency of your Quarkus project where your business process are. And I left here on the slide an example of how to do that with Maven, and the group ID, the artifact ID of our extension, and the latest release of runtimes.
That's your Kogito version. Sorry. No. Yes. Sorry. I thought it was the Quarkus version. That's the Kogito version. Sorry.
That's not Quarkus. We are at the Quarkus 2.
Good. Yeah, but if you use the platform, you don't have to specify the version. You just use the platform, so that works.
Yes, exactly. And once you have the dependency in there, you had to configure a set of properties in your application.properties file, which is in the main resource folder of your project.
You win the prize for the longest property name. Wait, Quarkus extension runtime data getting a client imp rest URL. Okay, got it. So,
this is this property key was kind of automatically generated at runtime when you use the REST client in the extension, so kind of ended up being there. But this property is the data index service URL, because right now, as I said in the present, you still need the data index running externally of the extension, so the extension can get the data which it shows in the UI. But very soon, we are already working to remove this need, so this property would go away as well. And the data index would run in memory inside the extension. This is one of the features we are already working on.
Awesome.
And secondly, we have some properties about the mocked users and groups for testing purposes. So as I will show on the demonstration, some business process that have user tasks, you will be able in the extension to impersonate some users because we don't use the single sign-on here. So all the authentication is mocked, and you can impersonate those users, so you can execute the tasks that are assigned to them seamlessly without having to keep logging off and logging in with another user. So it also makes the test a little faster as well compared to the production consoles.
Got it. Yeah.
And then once you have this set, you would be good to go to use the extension. And now I wanted to do a little demonstration with an example project that I have here and the business process. So I have the project here. Basically, the idea is to have a business process representing the hiring process of any company. So for any hiring process, you would need a candidate, which will be the input of this process. It has some basic information about the candidate here. This is a simple Podio. And here we have the process. It's quite. It does not do a lot of things just for demonstration purposes. But after it starts, we have a script node here that just do some logging, and then the first real action is the HR interview, which is a user task that will be blocking the process while it's not done. And in the top here, we have the main path, I would say, where the HR interview is executed. And after it's completed, something is logged. And then we have to wait again for the IT interview of the candidate. And once this is done, the process ends. And we also have here a second alternative path of the process where we have a synchronous job that starts with this user task. So as it's configured here, it will wait 40 seconds for the task to be completed. And if it's not completed by the time the job runs, then the HR interview will be skipped and we go right directly to the IT interview.
Just to clarify and make sure that the terminology, all these user tasks are human, people that we are waiting in state in the process for some human interactions. So in this case, for demo purpose, we are reducing the time for 40 seconds, but usually the like wait for 5 days. And then if 5 days there's no interview from HR, that node will be skipped.
Yes, exactly. And in this example as well, both user tasks are assigned to user JDo. Here, the actor of the user task. So when I'm using the extension, you'll see only JDo is able to list and execute those tasks. So okay, let me open my terminal. I have to just take down this this app of the DMN that I was showing, and I'll execute another example. Just a second. Yeah. So I ran the example. It was the same command that I showed on the DMN, and I'm also running in the background those external services that I mentioned in the installation slides. So I'm running the data index, Kafka, and the job service. And then I'm able to access here the DevUI extension. Let me just refresh. Okay. So here it's an interface that comes with the Quarkus application, and I'm able to see here on the top right corner a card with our extension in it. And as you can see, you are able to see some counts. They are all 0 because I haven't done nothing yet. It's an empty environment. Cool. And if I select one of the items, I'm able to go inside. I'm able to go inside the extension UI, and now what I'm going to do is show you all the features we have and demonstrate the process working.
So basically what you have here is like a mini management console just built into DevUI, right?
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And just think, for those who might not remember or don't know the detail, is DevUI is something that shows up being run Quarkus in dev mode. And in dev mode, Quarkus can do basically anything, including adding features like this. But when you turn on production mode, all this stuff is cut out. So you only have the trim down, no fuss, just focus on production code. But it's all kind of seamless, which is quite nice. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, Paulo.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. So we have basically three main screens here: the process instance, the jobs management, and the tasking box. They are all listing their respective resources, and they have filters where you can search for the groups you want to. The only difference of the tasking box is, as I said before, you can impersonate some users here. So you just have to click on this drop down, and you will see the users that you set on your application properties file. So you can just click on them, and then the list will be updated with just the tasks that are assigned to that user. So as I said, it's all empty right now because we don't have anything yet. But let's go ahead and start one new instance of the hiring process so you can see it working. Okay, so I left here, prepare the command to make a request to the Quarkus application that will make a post in this URL, and this will start a new process instance of the hiring process with this candidate information as an input of that instance. And
go ahead. And just did you show how that actually is? What I assume that's a REST endpoint somewhere that then hooks into Kogito, or is that how's this done?
It's generated when you develop your process. The process will capture the information that is in your process, and will generate automatically the REST endpoint. In this case, is the hiring.
Oh, okay, so you don't even have to write that piece of code. That's just done from the process itself.
Absolutely.
But then, if you want to, if there's something you want to modify, you go where? Can you edit the?
You can change code. You can change in the process itself. We'll have a place that you can change this URL, for instance, that will be generated, or you can make it private, because not all the process you absolutely want to generate an endpoint.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so now that we made this request, we have here just a small response with some information about the instance that was just created. And basically, it's the same input that you sent plus the ID of the instance. And if you go back now to the extension and refresh this list, we are able to see the instance that we just created. And if I go inside it, here we can see a lot of information about the instance. So first we have the diagram, the process diagram, which is an SVG that represents the current state at runtime of this instance. Basically, the gray nodes are the ones that already ran. The red one is the current node that's active, and the white ones are the ones that did not run yet, or will not run in this case because we didn't take this path.
So
on the right. Sorry?
I'm just saying, Thomas just saying that Kogito makes a lot of money. I'm not sure he prefers to.
So in the right here we have the timeline as well, where you can see the sequence of events of nodes that were executed in your process. Below here we have the jobs as well that were either scheduled or already executed that were related to this process. In this case, when I made the request while we were talking, the 40 seconds passed. So the job was scheduled before, but now it's already executed. So since we haven't done the HR interview task, it was skipped, as I mentioned before. And now the current state, we are waiting for the IT interview, which I will show in a few seconds.
Oh, nice. While you explain this, I just realized. So in before, you would have to install a separate plugin. Well, in your Eclipse or some other IDE, install a plugin, and then have a separate management console, right? So that's literally what you said before, right? I'm just realizing stuff you don't. have to do anymore. It's just
Yeah.
that one line of adding to the palm basically gives you all the stuff that require.
Yeah.
Well, you still have to install
Today-
the IDE, but yeah, it's quite a big.
Yeah, and today
a
you
big
need to install that, but in upcoming versions we do automatically that we add that extension automatically. It's just that we are in the beginning, as you can see, we still
Sure.
have some external dependencies, but it's where we are heading to. Just have
Very
dev
nice.
mode and it should just work.
Very cool.
And yeah, okay. So below here we also have a panel with some way to manually trigger nodes if you want to in the process. We also have here the process variables, which are in this case only the input, but once we have some output, it will be here as well. While the process hasn't finished as well, we can edit some of these values in the screen if we want to. And on the left here, we have some general details on the instance, like its state and ID, among other fields. So now, since we have the IT interview node active, let's go ahead and take a look at the other screen so to see what we can do. So just to show the job screen, if I change the filter here to include executed jobs and apply, we can see the job that ran 5 minutes ago. And if I go to the task inbox, I'm using the John. The user name is John here right now, so there are no tasks assigned to him. But if I change to JDo, I can see here the pending IT interview task. If I change the filter as well to include all the possible status of tasks, I can also see the HR interview that was aborted by the job that was executed in that instance as well 5 minutes ago. So let's go ahead and enter the IT interview now. So here, basically, we can see the inputs of the tasks in an automatically generated form based on the task schema. And these are all read-only, but the output is the one thing that the user has to accomplish in this test. So he can either approve or not the current candidate. So I'll go ahead and approve. And I can take all those actions for tests, complete, abort, claim, or skip. So I'm going to go with the happy path and complete the task. And now I can go back to the tasking box. I will see the task is already completed. And this happened a few seconds ago. And now if I go back to the process instance screen, I won't see anything because of the filter, but if I include the completed ones, I'll be able to see our instance that was completed a few seconds ago. And if I go inside, I can see the updated diagram with the process already finished and the timeline already showing the end node as executed as well. And here on the process variables, I'm able to see also the output of the IT interview task.
Very nice.
So yeah, that's basically for what I have for the demonstration. As you can see, apart from the request that I made manually to start the process instance, everything else we were able to do inside this interface, which helps a lot the developer not setting up a lot of stuff and not changing context very much, and in an easy to use UI as well.
And for this, can you show the example project? Is that literally just application properties and was it a BPMN file or was it?
Yeah, I can show you on the VS Code. So this was the project that I was running. Basically, I have this is a whole Quarkus project of several stuff. But what I did here was to add my dependency. Yeah, it's here. The same dependency I showed on the slide. So
if you remove that, you still have all the functionality, but you just don't have the dev UI part, right?
The dev UI,
yeah. The extension won't show in the dev UI.
Okay. Is that going to be in the future where you don't have to add a dependency?
Yes, very soon this dependency will go away. It's
Awesome.
just the first version that you have.
Sure.
Not long ago, this was just a prototype.
Yeah.
And you can see here on the application properties file the properties that I mentioned in the slide as well. Yeah, the data index or URL is not here because I'm using a default one, which is localhost 8082, if I'm not mistaken. But normally you should include that property in the slide as well for this first release.
Cool. So I see there's Jeremy is asking a question here, which I also have, like, how can a search system be plugged into such a workflow? So I guess that's just like anything coming from outside. I guess that's the REST endpoint. Just
as you mentioned, this is our REST interfaces. You can plug it into that, and you can create your own extension that maybe do something, manipulating, reusing what we provide.
Yeah. And I guess the other question is kind of related. So one thing is like system talking from the outside in, but I assume he's also talking about like in the flows, he wants another system. So he's saying like, come on, let me send a JSON message with some waiting until a webhook is sent by a third system. Like, how do you tie things around? Like, hey, once the hiring is done, like completed, send a webhook somewhere, and don't complete until we get some callback.
I guess that's all supported by the BPMN editor. So you have you can see the palette here. We have a lot of functionality. Here, of course, is just a simple example, but you have service attacks, for instance, that can invoke your own code. But you also have REST endpoints tasks that you can just point to a REST and send the payload. And you can use these jobs that are listening to events in an event-driven architecture. So you may be listening directly to a topic on Kafka, for instance, and have plenty of demo that will show. We have a key live that show using managed Kafka, using the OpenShift and connecting everything. So you listen from a message in a topic of Kafka and you process that, or you are in waiting state until you get that.
Okay, so again, right? So the service actually says here on interaction, I can call code. Is that I'm actually writing Java code in that box, or do I just refer to a method in my Quarkus code, or what's the?
You can write code there as well. So there are two different things. One is script. Script is you write your own code in here. That it can be Java, basically Java, but you have also JavaScript MFL. But when you're doing such level of integration with a component or REST interface or something, you use more customized items. You don't use the scripts, because otherwise you do coding here. That's not the proper place.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
It is very useful for debugging. You do a log in here, sys out there, so it would be helpful. But in real world, you use service tasks, or you can augment this palette with your own custom components that it customizes the forms that we are seeing here with your own properties.
And are they like Quarkus things, or are they also like some separate?
They're Java classes that you annotated with POJOs, and that they will be picked up.
Do you have an example, or just?
Not in here, I think. But it's
okay. But I mean, so you can basically you can have any like a Quarkus bean that has what annotation was it again?
I don't have top of my mind, but there is. You need to implement an interface because there's some needs of a specific contract that you need to meet. But once you have that, it will be exposed and easy to integrate in here.
Very nice. Okay.
Okay.
You got.
So.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So let me go back to my slides. So now that we took a look at how the extension works and all the features we have, let's take a quick look as well in the features that we are working on right now and will be available in the next releases of the extension. So as I already mentioned, we are embedding all the external services inside the extension, so you don't need to run them externally. The first one of them will be the data index, and it will be an in-memory data index that will run all the necessary features of the data index that are needed only for the extension, and will run seamlessly once you have the extension in your project. The second one is the process list and start. So as I said on the demo, the only thing I needed to do externally of the extension during the testing was the manual request to start a new instance that I did with the curl command in the terminal. So with this feature, we plan to list all the process definitions that are available at runtime at any given point, which in the demonstration would be the hiring process only. And then you can take an action to start there in the interface, and the form will be shown to you, so you can put the input necessary for that process, which in the case of the hiring process would be the candidate information. You would put there all in the screen, and then the test would be more easier, I think, in the UI, so you don't have to manual do requests or anything.
Yeah, because right now you have to read a manual to figure out which curl to do, I guess, which we don't like.
Yeah. Could use like Postman or another thing, but yeah, this would make it easier for developers for sure.
We always have Swagger, but it's not the seamless experience that we can have.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. And the third feature, is the custom task forms. So basically, what we're doing is creating a way for the developers to include HTML forms or React forms in their projects, in their resource folder, and those forms will be associated with user tasks in the processes, or even the process itself to start the process once we have this feature. So instead of generating the form automatically as we are doing now, you would be able to create your own. And if you need some complexity there, or do you want to add a new component to improve the experience, you would be able to do so. And this form would be able to be used as well in the production environment with the management and task consoles that you have there. So okay. I put here a quick sneak peek of what the screen will look like. So here is the extension in the dev UI, and you can see here a new item called forms. And this would list all the forms that are inside your project automatically. And you can see the type here. We have React and HTML so far. And once you click in one of them, you would be able to, in the left here, would be able to see and edit the source code in the browser. And once you click the refresh button, you would be able to see a real-time preview of this custom form. So you can.
So just hold up two things here. So that editor is actually editing the local file on your disk, right?
No, it's not editing the file yet. It reads from the file, but it doesn't write. Right now, you can just copy once you're done with
okay. Got it. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but we're working on that. We want to have same project director from here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we probably should figure out, because I think we've had some. Is this the same editor that we have for the property stuff, or is this completely separate? I guess it's separate.
Yeah, it's separate. For the forms, what we're doing is based on JSON schemas that we have for the process, for the task information, we generate a basic form using or React, that is using Patternfly, or HTML, CSS using Bootstrap. We generate these files for you. You can use that and do your own custom code, or you can use it just for a quick demo, or you can do nothing. And as we showed today, it will be auto-generated. But sometimes you need some tweaks or some rules that you want to apply, like a validation or dependency. The very common is country state, that you want to change things. populate one field with data depending on the other one. So all these is very complicated to do graphically. We don't do this business. We just generated the scaffolding for you, and you take from there.
Well, it's very good. Well, it's about like this source code highlighting editor thing. That was the one I was wondering. That's because we have an editor in.
Editor.
Yeah. So,
this is Monaco.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that was a question. Yeah, because that's Philip. He's doing the dev UI, so we're using CodeMirror and you're using Monaco. We probably should talk about aligning those, so there's no need to have two of the same loaded. But
that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. And then Bill says, "Will it possible to parameterize form data?" I guess that's a yes, because that's what a form is. But maybe you can. It's
There's two sides. Like parameterize the form that is generated. Again, that's based on JSON schema. You can tweak your JSON schema. You give more data, it will generate it differently. But once the form is there, there's an API that you load and do the binding with your data to populate this. Yes, automated feeding. Yeah, that is possible. Yes, it will load automatically. This is coming. It will be loading this information from your process.
Okay. It makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Okay. So as I mentioned, this is a feature that is in development right now, and we also have a key live in the key channel already scheduled, where Beta, which is my friend and teammate, will be presenting this feature done there. So if you're interested in see it working and the final UI, you can also watch the key live as well. I think Alex knows the date.
October 12th.
October 12th, right?
It. Okay. That's on the Kogito. Oh, you got it.
In our key channel,
Yeah.
In our YouTube channel.
Awesome.
Yeah. And also I left here a link for the blog of our team, where we post all these step-by-step tutorials and all the stuff we're releasing and working on there. And this presentation as well, I will be publishing later today a step-by-step of the demonstration I did. So if you don't want to watch the whole video again, you can take a look at the blog post as well to help you. Also a link here for the Kogito examples repository, in which are the examples that I used today in this presentation, the DMN one with the traffic violation model, and the hiring process, which is the other one, among others. And they have very, very specific written readmes, so you can take a look step by step on which services you need to run and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that was it that we had to present.
Cool.
I hope it helps, and let's see if we have any other questions for the audience. I guess.
Very good to see. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen it in its totality, so that was very good for me at least. I think we got some questions from, but I think everyone had answer. We got them all. Yeah. Bill just says thanks. It's very interesting for that one. Do we actually have an example, like a full one? Because well, again, now is the presentation I saw here was like everything is so easy, but I'm still like, how does this actually fit into like a real application? Like, I guess it's the intent that it's not the intent the user goes and views the form inside the admin console. It's supposed to be hooked into users' own.
Yeah.
Whatever app.
Exactly. The form side, usually it's embedded in the applications. I used to say that you don't have in your day-by-day a tasking box. You just have your work that you interact with different systems. And that's basically what's going to happen. But the technology that you're building, it generates the forms that you can take advantage and just get that piece and move in there wherever it's in your application, integrate it, have the API calls that is automatically generated for you. But you can, of course, just use this as an engine and just call it by whatever you have. So that's how we start the process for curl. You don't necessarily need to have a form to start the process.
No, yeah, but that's the cool thing is you generate so you can get started, and then you can either choose to have that form and use it, or just throw it away and just call the thing directly.
Exactly.
But you have the everything is kind of nicely decoupled. So
yes, completely decoupled.
Awesome. Okay, well, we are kind of close to the hour, and I don't see any other questions. So thank you, Paulo and Alex. And I hope to see you back once it's all there and automatically works, and I don't have to do anything, not even add an extension.
Soon.
That's
soon.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Max, for the opportunity.
Thank you. See you guys around.
Thank you, Max. See you.